Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside our Milford TV Studio B for our latest edition of the Milford Informer. I am your host, Tim Coet. Milford Springtown meeting is just around the corner. Tonight on the show, we have some valuable information for folks who are looking to get informed on this year's town meeting warrant. Let's get to the details on that and more as we present tonight's top stories rundown. Tonight, hear from Town Meeting Study and Improvement Committee Chairman Reno DeLuzio as he discusses the details on the pre-town meeting forum set to take place this Wednesday. Also tonight, we'll share a sneak preview of Glowbox Live at Milford TV as we get set to release the full performance later this month. And later in sports, we'll get you caught up on the week in Scarlet Hawks athletics, complete with highlights from Pheno Field as the baseball team hosted Sharon. Last fall, Milford's Town Meeting Study and Improvement Committee held their first ever pre-town meeting forum to help town meeting members and residents learn more about the articles on the warrant prior to town meeting. The TMSIC will be hosting another pre-town meeting forum next week ahead of the May 20th annual town meeting, and we were happy to meet with Reno DeLuzio earlier this week to find out more of the details on what will take place at next week's forum. And we are very happy to be joined on the Milford Informer this week by Reno DeLuzio. He's here from the Town Meeting Study and Improvement Committee. We're going to talk a little bit on the show this week, Reno, about the pre-town meeting that you folks are putting together coming up next week. First of all, thank you so much for joining us on the show this week.
My pleasure.
So I want to talk first a little bit about the committee that you're part of, the Town Meeting Study and Improvement Committee. That's been formed here for the last couple of years. Can you tell, for the folks at home who might not be aware of this committee's existence, what have you guys been working on since you first got together?
Well, this committee that was established by the town meeting was originally born out of the Citizens for Milford Town Meeting Working Group, which mostly was that group was composed mostly of town meeting members. But then we decided, after we did a survey, that we ought to have a committee under the jurisdiction of the town meeting to carry forward some of the implementation to improve the town meeting. The impetus for all this was that, I've been a town meeting member for over 45 years, and there's no organization that goes that long without looking at itself and deciding if it could do things better.
Sure.
So that's the genesis of it, and that's our main theme. How do we make the town meeting, bring it up to the 21st century, use more information technology that's available to us now to disseminate information, make the town meeting a little bit more efficient, and hopefully it'll last for another generation.
What are some of the things that the committee has implemented so far that's helped improve town meeting?
Well, let me say this. A lot of what we do does not require a town meeting approval in terms of changing procedures. But so far we've instituted what they call a standing vote to regulate speakers' time. Some speakers go on and on and on, others don't get a chance. So we know we have some regulation in place, not to limit speech, just to regulate it, because you can't limit speech in this country.
Absolutely.
Right. And then we established a beginning and end time of the town meeting to try to avoid long night sessions. So that was also approved for town meeting. And the simple one is we got the Pledge of Allegiance before the meeting established, that we'll say another Pledge of Allegiance to get people's juices going, I guess, whatever that does. And so those are three things that I can think of offhand that we, oh no, there was another one. We have probably a half a dozen articles every year that are routine articles that you have to go through to have the town do its business. So instead of having individual articles, individual votes, we group them, consolidate them into one article. People can take any one out to discuss it. But if not, we take the whole group under one motion, and it moves the town meeting a little bit faster. So those are the kinds of things we've had the town meeting approve in their procedures.
Oh, that's great. A lot of great work, and I'm sure that's helped move things along at least at a little bit of a better clip to really get to the issues that people really want to discuss.
There are 22 initiatives that are in the works. So most of them are in the works now that don't never get to town meeting. Oh, we're also developing a town meeting handbook. So
you've still only just scratched the surface with, with a lot of great work already. Right. And what we're here to talk about today is really another great thing that you guys have started doing. You first did it for the fall town meeting last year, and that's the pre-town meeting. And so tell us a little bit about why you guys felt that this was something important to bring to the community.
I mentioned the survey that we did, and one of the things that came out of the survey is that town meeting members are somewhat frustrated that they can't ask questions at town meeting.
Yeah.
The town meeting is really a debating forum. It's not a question and answer forum. So you have to argue for and against an article, but there isn't a lot of opportunity to go back and forth with questions. So one way to solve that problem is to have a pre-town meeting whose main purpose is to be able to ask questions of sponsors. Now, obviously, we can't go through the whole warrant. It's 30 articles or so. So we ask town meeting members and the public to submit articles, and from the ones that we get the highest responses, we develop an agenda. That usually runs about 10 or 12 articles that we put on our agenda for these pre-town meeting forums. The second advantage of the pre-town meeting forum is it gives the presenter a sense of what the questions will be addressed at town meeting, if there are any, or what the debate might be, and he or she can go back and refine their presentation to address those even before anticipation of those items coming up for debate. So it has a two-barrel benefit.
That's outstanding. And so as we said, you first tried this for the fall last year. Did you find that it had positive results once you got to town meeting?
I think it did. I think we had about 50 attendants. Of course, the public is invited to this pre-town meeting forum too, because the more people we can educate on how a democracy works, the better off we'll be. Yeah, we had about 50 in attendance, and at the town meeting, which was a week later, we had some commentary that, oh yeah, I learned this at the pre-town meeting forum. It was people that got up and spoke on the articles referencing the pre-town meeting forum. So I think it did catch on. Well, hopefully we'll get more participation this time, but you never know.
And so again, we should tell people right now that the pre-town meeting for the upcoming spring town meeting is going to take place next Wednesday, May 15th. It's going to take place at Milford Upper Town Hall starting at 7 o'clock. It's going to be about 90 minutes long to get through as many of those articles as you can. And you mentioned it, Reno, you had an opportunity for people to submit articles that they would like to hear discussed at the pre-town meeting forum. And so you have about 12 articles you're hoping to get through in that 90-minute span. I'm curious, maybe what are some of the articles that you had the highest volume of requests to talk about at the pre-town meeting?
Well, we have 3. There's an article by a citizen petition to increase the members of the Board of Selectmen from 3 to 5. And then there's another one by a citizen petition to move our spring election to November so that we get a higher turnout. Our election turnout in the spring is really pretty low, 12% or so. In November, it's the 40% range. Don't quote me on those numbers, but it's about double what we get at the spring town meeting. So the purpose of that article, obviously, is see if we can get more voter turnout.
So again, you have 12 in all. So you're going to cover quite a bit of ground.
Oh yeah, no, there is one that I shouldn't leave out, and that's the budget.
Probably the biggest one of all.
Yeah, right. Well, you never know. In fact, it didn't rank very high in our responses, but once it's there, people decide to ask questions or not. So this is different than the one we did in October. October, we usually appropriate monies for capital expenses, but in the spring, we appropriate money for operating budget, which is $1 million plus budget this year. I mean, $100 million plus budget this year. I wish it was $1 million, but it isn't. It's $100 million.
It's certainly an important topic, though, for people to talk about.
So that's going to be a new experience for us because we don't know how that's going to go. But this is a learning experience anyway. This is only the second one. I suppose if it continues, we'll learn how to do it better as time goes on.
So May 15th, again, that is the date that the pre-town meeting forum is going to be held inside Milford Upper Town Hall starting at 7 o'clock. They're going to roll through as many of these articles, again, 12 of them right now on the docket that they're hoping to get through. Obviously, the budget, as we mentioned, a big one that's going to be discussed, several other key articles. This has been a pretty interesting lead up to town meeting. There's a lot of big issues that are going to be discussed here, so this is a great opportunity for people to start to get that research in, that work in, to understand as much as they can going into town meeting. And we talked about this a little bit as well. Town meeting members, of course, encouraged to attend this meeting, but members of the community that just want to get a little bit more educated on these issues before town meeting are welcome to attend as well.
Absolutely, we encourage that.
So that's great. We certainly hope for a big turnout for this forum for you, Reno. Again, one more time, we'll give that information for you. May 15th, so that's coming up real quick next Wednesday, inside Upper Town Hall at 7 o'clock. Everyone who is available, we encourage you to turn out to learn all you can about some important articles that are going to be discussed ahead of this Springtown meeting. Reno DeLuzio, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Thank you very much, Tim. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
As you know, here at Milford TV, we've been welcoming local bands for a series of live performances at our studio. One of our recent studio sessions is just about ready to debut in its entirety. But before that happens, let's give you a sneak peek of our Milford TV presentation of Glowbox Live.
Now you've gone away to stay.
I'm a little unsettled. We're all crazy here, carrying on.
So we've been playing about 5 years. We've all been in different bands over the years, and we all came together with an eye on just doing very melodic, simple pop rock songs. We got together on the internet, actually, on our website. We're not going to plug the website, but we call it like an internet dating service for musicians. And we recruited all of these guys, and luckily it gelled.
It's been a party ever since.
1, 2, 3. Ooh, just in case it's over now. Ooh, show me all the things you found. Just in case you need to know the reason why. Just as well we're only here to live and die. You should have known the past had come to haunt you now. You could have shown there was no cause to taunt you now. Ooh, just in case it's over now. Ooh, show me all the things you found. Just in case you feel you're taking all the blame. Just remember you were born without a name. You could have known there was no cause to taunt you now. You could have shown you were calling on my dime. Ooh, just in case it's over now. Show me all the things you found. Well, that's it for the other one. Washed up on the sand. A journey of 1,000 years. We fold another head. Yeah, please understand. Just in case there's something more you need from me, take another number and wait patiently. You should have seen the line before you showed up here. Such a routine, day by day and year to year. Ooh, just in case it's over now. Ooh, show me all the things you found. Ooh, just in case you need to know. Ooh, I'm laying on the line. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
The Milford baseball team entered into action this past Wednesday, winners of 3 out of their last 4, giving them a solid hold on second place in the Davenport standings. Milford looked to keep that positive momentum going as they took on the visiting Sharon Eagles. We were happy to be out on a gorgeous afternoon at Fino to cover all of the action, so let's check out the highlights. The Scarlet Hawks have enjoyed good success against Davenport Division opponents this season, compiling a 5-1 record against their fellow small school rivals. Milford would look to keep that success going on Wednesday as they hosted the Sharon Eagles. Milford dominated Sharon earlier in the season, but the Eagles would show some good fight out of the gates in this game. Leadoff man Justin Brown would open the game by sending a bloop base hit out to shallow left field. Colby Perez would then struggle with his command as the inning continued, walking Daniel Zagorin before delivering a wild pitch that allowed both runners to advance. Eventually, Sharon would drive both of those runners in on a pair of RBI groundouts, and the Eagles would take an early 2-0 lead. Milford would look for a quick response in the home half of the inning. With one out, Matt Shaver would single, followed by a walk to Perez. Both runners would wind up in scoring position with 2 outs and Tyler Almeida at the plate. 1-1 pitch is belted out into right field. On comes Elliot Potowski, but he's going to have to play it on a hop. 2 runs are going to score for Milford as Almeida right now hustles around the bases. That ball getting past Potowski. And as a result, Tyler Almeida winds up at third base as this game is now tied up at 2. The Hawks would go back to work offensively in the second. First, Nick Marcolini would drive in a run on a sacrifice fly before Matt Shaver would send a sharp line drive out to center for an RBI single that placed Milford in a 4-2 lead. The score would tighten up to 4-3 in the bottom of the fourth, but the Hawks were ready to mount their biggest rally of the game against Sharon starter Justin Nault. Here's the 2-0 pitch, and it's hit hard in the air out to right center field. A long run again for Philip Kowski. Is he able to run it down again? Not this time. It travels out deep in right center field, and Luke Rosa with excellent speed has absolutely no problem getting into third base with a lead-off triple. And now the 2-2 pitch. It's hit softly to shortstop. They'll sling it to second base, but the throw gets away from Ben Reinbold out into shallow right, and Justin Appleby will come around from third base to score. Nault trying to limit the damage in this inning to just the 1 run. Runner takes off from first base as this ball is driven into the gap in left center field off the bat of Corsini, rolling towards the fence. And damage done indeed as Marcolini scores. Here comes Perez across the plate as Danny Corsini slides into third base with the second triple of the inning. This one scoring 2 runs for the Scarlet Hawks as they open up a 7-3 lead. After Sharon grabbed a pair of runs off of Milford reliever Weston Solomon to cut it to an 8-5 score, the Hawks would have another big inning up their sleeve in the bottom of the 6th. With 1 down, Colby Perez would send a high drive down the left field line. The ball would stay fair for what would be an easy double for Perez. After a walk to Danny Corsini, Tyler Almeida would stay red hot at the plate as he would crush a pitch out to deep center field. It would go just past the reach of Sharon's Alec Filipkowski, and as a result, 2 more runs would score, giving Almeida his 4th and 5th runs batted in of the afternoon. Milford's 4 captains would combine for 9 total RBI, as the Scarlet Hawks would go on to defeat the Sharon Eagles by a final score of 11-5. We also had coverage of the boys' volleyball team at home this week. The Hawks were able to empty their bench in a dominant 3-set sweep over their Tri-Valley League rival Norton. Milford is now 14-1 overall on the season. The boys will be back in the Milford gym this coming Thursday against a tough Natick team that ended Milford's season a year ago. That game will take on an added significance for the boys as they will be dedicating the match to the memory of Coach Linda Zakili. We are very much looking forward to covering that game, and we also look forward to bringing you another all-new edition of the Milford Informer next Friday night. We thank you as always for tuning in. From all of us here at Milford TV, this is Tim Coette saying have a great week. So long, everybody.